kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody to Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we take on the Sin City Tri-Oval here. I'm Alan Bergen, alongside me, Mr. Liam Irving. Liam, how's it going?
And it is going good tonight. We are live here in Las Vegas, in Sin City. These drivers are ready to gamble, put it all on the line out here. I'm stoked for a good show. It's been a while since I've been able to call a Racers Elite show, and yeah, there's not a better track to get it done than this high-banked mile and a half here in the deserts of Las Vegas.
Absolutely. You know, Liam, I reached out to you the other day to ask you if you want to join me in the booth, and you said, why not? It's been a good long minute since you and I got to, just kind of hang out and work together here, but I am so stoked, and you couldn't be in here on a better night as last week at Pocono after 60 laps and the dust had, settled in the Pocono Mountains as Brandon Poffenbarger walking away with the win. But not to discount Truth Hoke taking second along with Troy Thomas. They made it interesting. They had to race it out amongst themselves. But nonetheless, 18 drivers signed in here tonight. And the driver out of Kansas City, Missouri, Stephen Luttrell, is so far on the pole with a 30.69. And Liam, right now this track is hot.
It absolutely is right now. We are looking at a track temperature. I believe we're 101 right now. So, I mean, it's not super crazy hot, but the sun is going to be baking on this racetrack, and these tires are definitely going to be going through some trouble. These guys get 5 sets of tires in the race, so that's 4 plus the one that they start on. 65% fuel as well, so that's going to put these pit stops roughly around 35 to 40 laps, I would say.
Look, my math doesn't match most times, but nonetheless, a lot of familiar names to you up here, and looking up and down the scoring pylon as we are just about halfway through qualifying. Let's see how these drivers are getting around this racetrack. We'll find Brett Bray on the racetrack here as he is in his qualifying trim with that number 17 car. So far, just coming around to get his first lap. He's going to time him at a 32.22. Good enough for 15.
And not a bad run. Not great, but it's the next session that pays the bills for him.
I mean, I learned that this week here. Alex Tuft, so far, just sitting quietly outside the top 10 with a 31.62. You know, I want to note something, though, very interesting here in this Xfinity series. As next year we'll be calling the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, but Andrew Tuft has yet to visit Victory Lane here out of 6 weeks, just under halfway through the season here as we get kicked off.
Yeah, that's not really a stat that he's going to be pleased with. Looking to have a strong run here in Las Vegas. Now we take a look at Terry Fennell. Completes his second lap. That's going to jump him up into 12th place. Just around mid-pack. Looks like we've got ourselves another driver coming up in here in Pete Polini. Just getting out onto the racetrack. That'll be our 19th entry for the race. Still just a few minutes left in qualifying here. Of course, that means there's a few minutes left to register. If the racer's elite drivers, maybe you're checking out the status of the race to see if you got time yet. You do. Just about 3 minutes.
Definitely got time in here to go while Pete Polini's coming around the racetrack. Liam, I mean, this schedule, I looked at this schedule and I was so honored whenever, Andrew Tuft at Racers Elite gave us the nod to broadcast their races here in season 7 after taking a year off.
Yeah, it's a great group full of talented guys. You saw Pete Polini get a little bit sideways in turns 1 and 2. Better around that second time. First lap's going to be good enough for 15th. He's going to be hoping for a bit of an improvement. And he is sideways coming up off of 2. I don't think this lap's going to be an improvement. Yeah, he's just trying not to hit anything, and he's going to smack that inside wall pretty good.
Pete Polini not having a good time here. But, Liam, after we leave here at Las Vegas, we're going to the Smoky Mountains of Bristol for 200 laps on September the 3rd. And then on September 10th, we're headed out your way, to the West Coast, to Portland. And then on the...
It's nowhere near me.
I know. Maybe I'm just bad at geography, too. I don't know. But then, here's the other curveball. 140 laps on September 17th to round out the regular season at Kern County Raceway, Kevin Harvick's track. And then, I'm going to effectively name the first race of the chase the Alan Bergen birthday race on September 24th as we head to Phoenix.
2 minutes left here in qualifying. Rob Yost Jr. is the only driver who has yet to get out and start a lap. Lee Campbell, another later entry to the show, was able to qualify himself up in the top 5 with a 30.89. Current pole time is sitting at 30.69. And it looks like Pete Polini's just going to be out here trying to get some practice laps, having showed up a little bit late. Alan, what kind of benefit can you get? You've only got a minute and a half to get these laps, but what is he trying to feel out here?
He's trying to feel out what his car's going to do over a short run. What that track's gone through, just because I mean the track's just beaten in the sun. I mean it's getting a sunburn just like I do in this case, but that's a different story for a different time. But nonetheless, you know, he's trying to see, you know, as he's trying to find the limit and then step just a little bit past it, if you will. You know, definitely getting those practice laps in, going to be beneficial as we got about a half a minute left in qualifying. So far on the pole right now, the provisional pole will be Stephen Luttrell, the driver out of Kansas City, Missouri.
Well, technically, nobody's going to have a chance to beat him. Everybody has run at least one lap, has begun their second lap. I think we're going to have just enough time for Pete to figure out turns 1 and 2 one more time. He's going to try the outside.
You know,
but
Liam,
as we wrap up, sorry?
I was going to say, it's almost as if these cars, what I experience in these Xfinity cars, as he's going to make a fool out of me, these cars tend to get on the tight side the more you go through a run.
They certainly can. I mean, it's really setup dependent, and it also kind of depends on how you attack the corners too. I found that if you kind of back up the corners and get on the gas sooner, that's going to loosen you up throughout the course of the run. You're going to find yourself using more right rear. But if you drive it into the corner deep, try to get on the brakes in the middle of it, or later, you're using a lot more right front. You're putting a lot more heat in those right front or both front tires. So that's going to tend to tighten you up throughout the course of the race as you wear down that right front tire. So it'll be interesting to see which ways these drivers attack these corners. If they kind of back them up a little bit, or if they dive in deep, what lines we're going to see. It's a very versatile racetrack. But without further ado, let's go ahead and show you guys your starting lineup for today. Let's see where your favorite drivers are going to start.
That's a great segue, Liam. And on the pole out of Kansas City, Missouri, is Stephen Luttrell. 2 is outside out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island. It's Andrew Tuft. On the inside of row number 2, it's going to be Cody Benelli. And 2 is outside. He'll be flanked by that number 5 car of Brandon Poffenbarger. On the inside of row number 3, it's going to be Lee Campbell. And 2 is outside will be Brandon Massey. Starting 7th on the inside of row number 4 will be Troy Thomason, Nitrous Cowboy. Alongside of him, Joshua Neal. The Detroit, Michigan driver, Dennis Kane, will start 9th. And to his outside will be Ira Kohlhaas. Liam, let's go through the rest of the starting lineup.
Yeah, after that we've got Truth Oak in the 55, starting in 11th with Alex Teft in 12th. 13th place, Terry Fennell with Brett Bray to his outside. Pete Polini, we saw him run in practice laps at the end of qualifying, starts on the inside of row number 8 with Barry Nelson to his outside. Kirby Wayne Scott, David Kimmons make up the last full row. And it looks like Rob Yost Jr. has shown up, so all 19 entries are able to get gridded up and off of the grid okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love this. Here, 105 laps is the scheduled distance. And we went over those pit stops and where we think they're going to land. But, Liam, there's going to be one driver here that will test the absolute limits and, save as much as they can. And I think if there's anybody that's good at saving fuel, it's always been Dennis Kane in that number 4 car.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We've got 65% fuel, which I initially said was probably going to be about 45 laps. I would up that to about 55. We're going to watch that pace truck make the hard left turn. The starter has the flag in hand into the zone. Flag is in the air. We're racing here in Las Vegas.
And already Stephen Luttrell out with the early jump as we head down into turn number 1.
side by side throughout the rest of the pack. You see a couple of cars starting to slip off of the bottom. These cold tires are going to be brutal here for these first couple laps. I know the track is hot, but the tires are not. So that grip is going to take a moment to set in. Look at the speed these guys have already, though. This first lap, side-by-side action. Stephen Luttrell is going to lead the first one.
He's going to lead the first one. He's going to have Andrew Tuff right behind him in that number 98 car. But Cody Benelli, who's had some strong runs here in the Xfinity Series, he's going to be right there in third. But last week's winner, Brandon Poffenbarger, is going to stalk all three of these drivers in that fourth position.
Last week's winner, Brandon Poffenbarger, here in the fourth place, driving that number 5 car. So far, so good. Up in the top 6, everyone was able to kind of retain their position. Joshua Neal got around Troy Thomas at that initial start. Ira Kohlhaas got around Dennis Kane on the initial start. Then you've got to go all the way back to Kirby Wainscott and Rob Yost Jr. in 15th and 16th. Those are the only drivers that have made up any positions at this point. Most of these guys have... Oh, we got a sideways car coming up off of 4. That was the 17 of Brett Bray. Good save there, though, as he's going to slide up, make a little contact with the 83. And there goes Pete Polini down to the inside, coming back up the racetrack. Hard into the wall.
Oh, no. And that's going to be our first caution of the night.
That's David Kimmons out of the race. Yeah, he just bounced it off of the wall. Oh, man. He's doing everything he can at that point to slow the car down and not hit anything, and there was just nowhere for the 52 of David Kimmons to go.
Absolutely. As we come back out to the live shot, once again, Pete Polini has got the meatball flag. Now they do, or Dave Kimmons has the meatball flag. They do, Liam, have one trash repair in their back pocket. I mean, depending on the severity of the damage, Pete Polini may stay on pit road and just fix that damage and see how.
No, he's out. Pete's out of the race.
Oh no, he's gonna win the race to the beer stand. Not a good.
He has won the race to the beer stand. He, yeah, unfortunately, that lap number 3 incident is going to end his day.
Man, oh man, let's take another look at that one more time. This time from the chopper view, and there it is. He almost had it saved, and then here comes the 52 of David Kimmons. Just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, there's just nothing he can do at that point. But while we are under caution here, Brendan Puffenberger, Brandon Massey, Truth Hoke, Ira Kohlhaas, Kirby Wainscott, and Rob Yost Jr. all elect to make a pit stop under this caution. David Kimmons looks to be out of the pits and quite possibly going to be able to retain his position on the lead lap. Had to use that fast repair. Definitely a detriment to use it this early in the show, but hey, at least he had it. He's able to get back out onto the racetrack without losing that lap. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just it tells me that he was able to limp that car right on around the racetrack, and make it back to pit road without towing. But nonetheless, as we're going to get ready to get lined up 2x2, Noah Zarkstow behind that iRacing.com pace truck. And, they've updated the cars. They need to update the pace truck.
Well, they've got a few different options, and I will agree. They should update the truck. Let me get, something a little bit newer. It's pretty obvious that that's a Silverado front end, but it's not Chevy labeled. Might be a Tundra on the side or something, but... No, I agree. The iRacing sedan is the closest updated pace car that they have. Should give us a new truck. Give us a newer Mustang, too.
Absolutely. As the lights are out on the speedway and the iRacing.com pace truck. Liam, it's been 7 laps here, and it's been action-packed. As I always like to say, There's been more action in a Waffle House at 0 a.m.
I don't know about that. We still got a ways to go here, Alan. And I've been in some pretty wild Waffle Houses, so we'll talk again at the end of the show to see which one was wilder. But for right now, these guys were just driving hard, right on the edge of control. Seen one early caution, but the wild stuff in the wild, wild west is yet to begin.
I love it. But nonetheless, here we are getting ready to come back to green. Barney's got the yellow flag in hand just for a moment as we get ready to go back to green flag, patiently waiting the field. Here he goes. He's going to swap out the yellow for green. iRacing.com pace car going to make that hard left-hand turn on the pit
Now
road.
remember, this time the leader starts it.
He's got the time that he enters the box right there. Steve Luttrell on the gas, and we are down and away.
A little bit of a slower start there by Andrew Teft. Caused some of the outside lane to try to poke out to the outside. Not a whole heck of a lot of passes being made just yet. Cody Benelli going for P2 on the inside, but here comes Teft up on the outside with a strong run on this first lap of the restart.
And
Truth Hope slow on the inside down the back straightaway.
that might be by design. Truth has had a great season here. Leading the points, I believe. I'd have to double check that. But he's definitely locked in the playoffs. Right now, Stephen Luttrell continues to lead. Here comes Andrew Tuft looking on the inside of that number 36 car. And he is going to go to the point, maybe not yet, as Tuft and Luttrell were Goodyear to Goodyear.
Yeah. Tuft is doing everything he can on the inside, but the longer this run goes on, the harder it's going to be to make those passes on the inside. You're going to have to really set that pass up and not be able to just muscle your way through on the inside. Fastest car on the racetrack that last time around was Andrew Teft. He ran the fastest lap of the race, a 31:01, and here he is looking to the inside again. Luttrell gets a little bit loose up on the outside. That's going to allow Teft to lead this lap the first time somebody other than Steven has led today.
What a move by Andrew Tuft to get by that number 36 car, Stephen Luttrell. Andrew Tuft, once he gets out front, he is so dangerous. Right now, it's a 16th of 0.16 second lead over Stephen Luttrell, and here comes Cody Benelli, who is still hungry for a win here this season.
Yeah, Cody Benelli, he wants to win this race because he's currently coming into this race after Pocono sitting in 12th. He's 4 points up above that cut line. Just a couple of races to go here before the playoffs. He wants to win his way in. He doesn't want to have to worry about this bubble battle as Luttrell gets a little bit high coming up off of turn number 2. Does that allow Cody Benelli to the inside?
It's going to allow Cody Benelli to go to the inside as Benelli and Luttrell are Goodyear to Goodyear coming off of turn number 4. It's going to be a drag race through the tri-oval. Meanwhile, this is what Andrew Tuft wants to see, is these guys getting doubled up, because that's going to allow Andrew to escape.
Yeah, Andrew came into this race third in points, 10 points behind the tied leaders of Brandon Puffenbarger and Sean Dunaway. Doesn't look like Sean is in the event today, so that's going to give Brandon the points lead as of right now by virtue of starting the race. But could Andrew Teft win this race and get up into the points lead? We'll find out here.
Yeah, the other thing too is got to point out is, you get points for leading laps and the fastest lap of the race. So I mean, you don't want to blister down you want to get a fast lap, but you want to make sure that it's the fastest lap of the race. As a little bit further back, the Nitrous Cowboy, Troy Thomas, has moved up one position. And Liam, he has been so good at just buying the time and being there at the end.
Yeah, I've noticed a couple of strong performances out of the three as of late. And then, Troy Thomas is out here trying to follow up with that. Obviously, Austin Dillon won at Richmond just a couple of weeks ago. Now this driver in the number 3, Troy Thomas, trying to do his work to get up into victory lane.
Liam, I gotta have a question. I know you're somewhat of a part-time driver yourself. Is it common for drivers to start getting up off that inside groove and start working their way out to the outside?
Here, definitely, yeah. It's kind of a mid to high groove dominant racetrack. When you've got newer tires, you can definitely hold on to the bottom a bit better and keep that grip. But you definitely find yourself sliding up a little bit more throughout the middle of the corner and setting yourself up to get a different exit because of that. There are some guys who can just harvick it anywhere they go. They can just paint that line and somehow find a way to make it work. But even then, probably going to rely on some tire saving first.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we're watching this battle right here, getting ready to start brewing. Cody Benelli trying to catch up. Andrew Tapp running out to a half-second lead over the 19 car of Cody Benelli, pulling away steadily, just kind of inching. Steven Luttrell finds himself down 2 positions in the wrong way. But here comes Lee Campbell in the number 60 car. He's looking and stalking, trying to make a move on that 36 car.
He's definitely looking to try to make a move, but I want to bring up another driver that I've been pretty impressed with so far, and that's the number 43 of Alex Teft. I know Andrew's out here leading, but Alex is up 5 spots. He's made his way up into the top 10. He's currently sitting in 7th. He got around that 50 car just a little while ago, and I tell you what, it looked like the 50 almost cleared himself off of the front bumper of the 43 while they were racing. It was close. It had me concerned, but they get away okay. Teft is able to continue on with the position. It's gonna try to keep moving forward here.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, to further your point about Alex, he doesn't qualify very well, but boy, that guy can race.
Yeah, that's showing right now, and he's trying to reel in that 3 of Troy Thomas that we spent some time talking about. Last time around, he was a little bit quicker. This time around, another 10th taken out. Ooh, look at the Ford drive it into the back bumper. That's Dennis Kane trying to get everything he can. Looking to get up to the front.
I'd say Dennis Kane stepping away from the league for a while. Finds himself a new home over at Sunday Cup League, which they have taken the year off from being broadcasted. But nonetheless, Dennis Kane, one of those drivers who has excelled over there at the Sunday Cup League, or SCL for short. And well, here he is. Jumped back in the Xfinity car. Andrew Tapp asked him if he wanted his number back. So that number 4 number was retired for a short while, but here it is, back on track, and I couldn't be happier.
We've got some incredible racing going on throughout the field. Brandon Massey just gets around Brandon Puffenberger to get 12th place. It's interesting, both drivers came into the pits, but neither one of them have really moved forward on the drivers who haven't pitted. And just to note on that, it looks like almost everybody came in for fuel only. A 6-second pit stop from Brandon Massey, a 5-second out of Brandon Puffenberger. Ira Kohlhaas spent 10 seconds in the pit, so it's entirely possible that was a 2-tire pit stop. But so far, none of the drivers who have made a pit stop have made any moves towards the front of the field.
It's almost like they're all in a checkmate right now. The back half of the field. Stalemate. There we go. Checkmate.
Yeah, checkmate. It's a little too early for checkmate. You can't just catch the golden snitch in a NASCAR race.
Nonetheless,
I bet Andrew Teft is wishing he could, though. He'd take the points lead. Now, forgive me, I'm not as familiar with this league as I maybe should be, but do we have a regular season champion bonus?
So they run the 2011 style chase, so there's not a regular season champion. But nonetheless, they are all fighting for a playoff spot here. As we, so we run the regular season, then it's a 5-week chase finish. Which I've always been a big fan of the playoffs. I love it. And NASCAR playoffs are a lot different from the stick and ball sports where, well, if you don't make the playoffs, you go home. You're still out there with the same, competitors all season long. So if you wrong someone in the regular season, and you need them to get to give up a position for you or to let you by, they may race you a little bit differently, knowing that you're in the playoffs and they may not be.
Or you could just be around Carson Hocevar. Well, Alan, that's interesting that you bring that up. Because I'm not a fan of the playoffs. I feel like a sort of hybrid system would be best. Run it like you did the old chase format. Get 10, 12 guys up in there. But don't crown a regular season champion. Or maybe do. I don't care. Back in the day, they used to start whoever had the points lead after the regular season was over to start the chase. They would start with the most points, and then it would go down in like 3 or 5 point increments. So what I think is that if you win a race, doesn't necessarily put you in top 10, top 12 in points. Win it. You still get your playoff points for stages and wins and stuff. Then when you start the chase, you start with all your playoff points. Regular season championship may or may not be involved. But then you run it out. 10 races. You win a bunch of races, you got yourself an advantage into the playoffs that lasts you the whole time. You point your way into the playoffs, tell you what, man, you're in. But you're going to have to do some winning. You're going to have to perform better. There's my side tangent here as we've got more racing going on here.
I love it. Looking a little bit deeper back in the field, Alex Mired back here in a 7th position, up 5 spots from where he started. And it seems like him and Dennis Kane cannot get away from each other.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Dennis Kane closing in on the 3 once again. Troy was able to kind of drive away a little bit. Alex was able to kind of drive away a little bit as he closes in on Troy. Now Troy is catching up to the cars in front of him, such as Cody Benelli, such as the 82 of Joshua Neal. So these guys in the middle of the pack, they're starting to close in on these top 5, top 3 drivers. Oh. That was a big moment there out of Benelli.
That was Dennis Kane there in the 4 car, who just had a moment there. As
we were looking at opposite things then, because I didn't see his moment, but Benelli also had a little bit of a sideways moment.
Well, Dennis Kane almost needed Affleck.
That's why at-track broadcasts are great instead of studio, because me and Alan can look at different things.
Right. Love it. Here we are with the onboard telemetry, and you can see just how much, he's only dropping 20 miles an hour. And just a burp of the throttle, and he's back in it.
It's a bit more than a burp. It's a let off, it's a feather, and then it's a waiting game to get fully on the throttle again. Because like I said, if you're backing up these corners, you're going to use a lot more right rear than right front. That's going to loosen up the car.
As it looks like we had an incident here. Let's check this out. This was Brendan
Puffenberger's losing time.
He went off track. Let's see what happened here. And
he's just dirt tracking it through turn 3 and 4.
Gets in the fennel and does some free landscaping through the infield.
Yeah, I think Fennel got the wall pretty good too.
Oh boy.
Tough break there for the 5. And the 50 as well. Both drivers able to continue on. We stay green, but probably not pleased with that situation, not having a caution, and Puffenberger is down 10 spots from where he started. Started in 4th, now runs 14th.
Yeah, to your point, Liam, there's been times where I've actually asked if race control is actually awake.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a fair no call. Nobody spun out. Yeah, the 50 made contact with the wall, but he's able to keep driving. He's not got a meatball. It stinks for those guys for sure, but I feel like that's a pretty fair no call. Now you see the 82 of Joshua Neal looking down to the inside of Cody Benelli. Benelli was able to get up to 2nd early on. Seems like he is starting to fall away. Andrew Teft continues to lead by about 1.5 over Stephen Luttrell. Then Lee Campbell up in 3rd in that 60 machine. 4th place still Benelli, and 5th is Joshua Neal.
Right
35.
Oh, we got pit stops starting. Green flag pit stops right on cue, Liam. You are the new mathematician.
This is not what I said at all. But these guys, I tell you what, they know they can't make it on one stop, so this is the split. This is where you split it. Right around 35 to 40. Now you see the 82 coming in. He's coming in hot. Is he going to be able to slow it down? Troy Thomas is coming in hot. And Kane almost gets into the back of him, gets her mowed down. I think all 3 are going to be safe there.
Ooh, here comes Lee Campbell in. Barry Nelson comes in.
The 87 of Brandon Massey. That's kind of a cool paint scheme.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look. I
like the number style. That's what does it for me. It's just old style.
I gotta pick your brain as Andrew Teft's gonna come down pit road. Cody Benelli
almost loses it. Little lockup out of Stephen Luttrell as well. Alan, what do you want to pick my brain about?
So, Dodge Ram is going to be going truck racing next season. Do you buy the Ram here on the service when it becomes available?
That is a good question. I'm going to say probably not.
Oh.
I've already got the Chevy and the Ford.
Yep.
And I just feel like anything that's going to be made for the Dodge Ram that's not new is going to be probably already put onto another body just because of the lack of Dodge to put it on.
As we cycle
Anyways,
pit stops, Brandon
Massey leads.
I was going to say, he took
Sorry,
the
Alan.
out of my mouth. No, you're good. You're good. I love it.
Brandon Massey leads over Ira Kohlhaas, Rob Yost Jr. And Brandon Puffenbarger, Kirby Wainscott, Truth Hoke, David Kimmons in 7th. Those are the drivers who pitted on that burst yellow. They're going to have to come in just a few laps here. Or is it possible, Alan, that they could make it past that halfway point, make it into a fuel window to do it on one more stop? Robert Yost Jr., he is definitely losing time, though. 32.59 that last time. This time around, 32.94. And Andrew Teft and Joshua Neal, they're in the low to mid 31s.
Yeah, you're 100% correct here. They're starting to fall into the clutches of that lead pack with Stephen Luttrell. Just right there. So as soon as Rob Yost Jr. comes dive on pit road.
Rob's coming in.
Here he goes.
Here comes Brandon as well. Puffenberger, that is. Massey stays out. Along with Kohlhaas, Wainscott, Hoke, and Kimmons. Good recovery for Kimmons. Currently sitting in the top 5. I know it's due to staying out, but involved in that first and only caution of the day and able to get up into the top 5 at least for a moment. We'll keep an eye on him throughout the rest of the race and see what kind of recovery he can get. But that 52, he's coming out of the radio. He's coming in this time, and a big avoiding move there out of the 17. Try to get around him. Green-White-Checkered takes over the race lead, but Truth Hoke just behind him. Alan, I know you're gonna say potentially looking at I'm just gonna leave that train of thought at the station and move forward to Andrew Teft, who has taken over. He's about to take over second place. Truth Hope comes into the pits this time around. That leaves Green-White-Checkered as the only driver still out on the racetrack. 43 laps complete. Andrew Teft has about a second over Joshua Neal.
We knew it was going to happen.
Pretty impressive out of the 82 as well. Did a little bit of an undercut on Andrew, and he's able to hold on to about that second range. They're running within 3 or so hundredths of each other. Stephen Luttrell also within a tenth of the race leader. Actually, a couple hundredths quicker. Cody Benelli a couple hundredths quicker as well. Cody actually 2 100ths off of the fastest lap of the race. Now that I look at it, Andrew Teft went quicker than a 31.01. He went 30.95. And Alan, we haven't talked a whole heck of a lot about weather, but this cloud cover rolling in could play a factor in these, how these tires grip. Could throw these guys for a loop.
Yeah, it has now become cloudy, and with that, I'm glad you brought that up, because right now it is 75 degrees. The humidity here in the desert really doesn't matter too much. It's a dry heat. But that cloudiness could tighten these race cars up on a 91-degree track.
91 degrees. It's already dropped 10 degrees from the 101 that we talked about earlier in the show. Asphalt tracks are really sensitive, man. I mean, it's a dark surface. You get that sunlight on it, it bakes. And it bakes the tires. You get that cloud cover, it gives the tires a little bit of reprieve. But how does it affect the tire life?
These tires are going to start to go away. These guys are going to feel like Superman just for about 10 to 15 laps. And when that tire falls off, you're going to be searching for a grip. As you can see, Andrew Teft there in the number 98 car, who was definitely off the white line. And Liam, he there, as he makes a slow out of me, he goes right back down to the inside. But, you would think that the inside line would be the best line to run. The outside line would be a cheese grater, but nonetheless, the outside line is exactly where you want to be at.
You can definitely work the inside. It just gets tougher once you wear down your stuff. And, you don't want to be running right next to the wall, because that is where it is a cheese grater. There's not been really anybody running right up to the fence. So, I mean, if you stay up there for 5, 10, 15 laps, you're definitely going to struggle to run the bottom. But Andrew Teft doing a really good job staying within about a half a car length from the bottom of the racetrack. And now he's starting to open that lead up once again over Joshua Neal, getting up to about 1.4. As Truth Hoke sets the fastest lap of the race, a 30.89 in 13th place. Still on the lead lap, I believe. Yes, on the lead lap. We've got 17 drivers on the lead lap. David Kimmons just in front of your race leader, on the verge of going a lap down. Only one driver off of the lead lap. That's Brett Bray. And then Pete Polini, of course, out of the race after that lap number 3 incident.
Yeah, that's got to be so dejecting to run 3 laps of 105. They're scheduled to be run here as he had an incident. But nonetheless, Brett Bray going to put it on pit road. Dave Kimmons, the first car, would be the first car a lap down once they go by and Andrew Teft goes by. 51 laps. We're working with 51 laps, 50 laps scored. Liam, the drivers on the racetrack took a pit stop. We're gonna go ahead and take a pit stop and go side by side. You won't miss a thing here on Sim Racing Media. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sin City, Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we are working lap number 60, 59 laps scored as Andrew Tuff continues to lead. I'm Alan Bergen alongside my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Liam Irving. And Liam, through 60 laps, it has been all Andrew Tuff all day long.
It really has. I mean, Stephen Luttrell started on the pole. He led the first 9 laps, but after that initial restart, it took a lap or two. Tuft was able to get out into the lead, and since then, he really hasn't looked back. He's got 3.5 seconds over Joshua Neal, who is now under fire from Steve Luttrell.
Well, just as you say that, Stephen Luttrell and Joshua Neal, Goodyear to Goodyear, coming off of turn number 4. And I do stand corrected, Andrew Tuff does have 1 win on the season. The research department has now been fired, so...
Yes, Andrew Tuft has 1 win on the season. Other race winners are Steve Luttrell, Truth Hoke, Sean Dunaway, and of course last week, Brandon Puffenberger.
I just wanted to clear that up. Even we make mistakes in the research department, but nonetheless, this battle between Steve Luttrell and Joshua Neal is starting to heat up, and you can insert Cody Benelli into that.
It's not a battle between Steven and Josh anymore. It's Cody and Josh. Steven's gotten around. He is looking forward, trying to find a way to chase down the leader. But I tell you what, with almost 4 seconds of a gap, you really have to find something in this late run speed. You're not going to be able to do it all by trying the undercut.
As this battle is cooled off for just a moment there, as Cody Benelli there for about a lap and a half was running that, what I like to call the Kyle Larson line, right up against the fence.
We haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of that right up by the fence so far today. Maybe the groove is starting to widen out to that point. Haven't seen guys get much further up than, really where the darker part of the racetrack starts to fade away the most. Still only 1 caution in this race. It happened about 60 laps ago. Alan, go ahead and take over that Cody Benelli battle.
Cody Benelli sliding up, or Goodyear to Goodyear rather, with Joshua Neal. Can't really quite complete the pass, but he was definitely looking to the inside. He backed off, let those tires go off, and here he goes. He's working to the outside now. Just can't quite get there. Liam, Joshua Neal is just so much better off.
Benelli gets into the wall coming up off of 2. I'm not sure how bad that's going to be, but it looked like a significant hit. Going into 3, he looks to go in with full confidence. Might be losing a little time, but Alan, next time around, I would implore you to maybe ride on board with that 19 through the front straightaway so we could just kind of see what these guys are dealing with on the trial. It looks like a fairly simple straightaway, straightforward straightaway, front straightaway, but I feel like these cars get super tight coming through.
I like the line he's running. He's about the center off.
Good coming up off, but here through the tri-oval, especially in that wake, he slides up the racetrack, gets right up next to the wall. And when you arc it that way, it's so easy to hit it.
Oh, Joshua Neal just bobbled. That's going to allow Cody Benelli to catch up to him. Neal going to keep the car underneath him at any rate, though, as Cody Benelli is starting to catch him once again.
Closing in, it's a car length now. Meanwhile, up front, the gap for the lead. We can keep an eye on this battle for sure, but the gap for the lead is closing down. It's 3.1 compared to the 3.7 that we saw before. So the late run speed of Stephen Luttrell is definitely showing at this stage in the game, as here comes Benelli down to the inside of Neal.
Here they are, Goodyear to Goodyear once again. Cody Benelli slide up.
They both slide. Joshua Neal coming up off the outside. Cody Benelli on the inside. Give the position to the 19.
Joshua Neal going to try to cross him over into turn number 1. Can't quite get underneath him and force him up the racetrack any more than what he already is. Wow.
That is incredible stuff. Joshua Neal doing everything he can to hold on to these spots. Got slightly older tires, having tried the undercut. You gotta believe, Alan. Lap number 70, that is the 2/3 point of this race. Pit stops are coming.
I mean, they have to. These tires have got to be abused right now. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do inside the race car to take care of those tires. But who's going to be the one? I mean, we are in Las Vegas. Who in the field do you think might gamble after this and make it a two-stop race?
You mean a two-tire stop? Because here comes Joshua Neal into the pits. He's going to be the first. He's trying the undercut once again. But, I don't know. I think it's going to be a two-stopper for everybody who didn't pit under that first caution. I can't foresee anybody taking two tires, given the fact that the fall-off is almost 2 full seconds. Old tires to new. I just don't see taking rights giving you that speed boost that all 4 tires would.
Well, there's the man of the hour right now, and that is Andrew Teft, who's out to a 3-second lead over Steven Luttrell. Steven Luttrell, the driver out of Kansas City, Missouri, representing the Show Me State, so. I mean, the Show Me State is represented in the booth and on the racetrack. I can't complain.
Yeah, that gap has kind of stabilized, if not starting to grow in the favor of Andrew Teft. It's 3.2 seconds coming up off of 4, but Teft gets a little bit loose. That's going to allow Luttrell a chance to come up off of turn 4, close that gap back down a little bit. Looking at the lap times across the line. Looks like Teft was about a 10th quicker still, even with that sideways moment.
Yeah, Andrew
Luttrell's going to come in this time.
I would say Andrew Teft.
He's coming in as well. He heard the call from his room or from his rival on track. Said, "I am going to cover that." Alex Teft stays out to take over the race lead. This is going to be his first lap of the day.
And it's so valuable, of these bonus points there, leading lap. It almost makes you want to stay out as long as you can, just so you can get that lap led. Get that bonus point. Because at the end of the season, when it comes down to the last, season, the regular season race, those bonus points might matter if you're in a tie.
Oh, they definitely will. And we've seen ties happen before. These guys obviously using the 2011 point system. What other year did we see a tie in the championship? Not other year, but what year did we see a tie in the championship? 2011, of course. Tony Stewart won that title on the tiebreaker, the most wins. He won 5 races compared to Carl Edwards 1. And Alan, I hate to jump back to that playoff debate, but that just goes to show he had the perfect system right there.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's what I've been saying, but NASCAR's been fixed things for a while. So.
I think we may see the playoffs indifferent, but I think we can agree on the stages, though. Good gosh.
The FCC wouldn't allow me to say what I want to say about stages, so we're just going to go ahead and talk about the 55 AC Delco machine that's taken over the race lead. It's got 2.5 seconds over Kirby Wainscott, and those are the final 2 drivers to make a pit stop. 55's coming in this time. We'll see what the 10 does. These guys hoping for a caution at the end of the pit cycle. Doesn't look like it's going to come for him.
The Colonel Kirby Wainscott gonna stay out one more time, Liam. And I know you have all radio communications with the drivers, as you can hear what they're thinking. What's Kirby saying about other than coming on a pit stop, what do you think Kirby is going through with that, Toyota Supra?
He's just sitting in his head thinking, all right, caution would be pretty cool right about now. Or now. Or now. Maybe right now. That's what he wants. He wants the caution to come out so he can come in under yellow, get his fresh tires at a position where he's got 5, 6, 7, 8 laps on some of these guys, and then he's got the advantage on that restart. If the caution comes out soon enough, he can really take advantage of those tires as he gets a little loose coming through turns 1 and 2. He can really take advantage of it. The later this race goes, the more of a struggle it's going to be because, you give it a couple more laps, everybody behind him is going to come in and pit for fresh tires as well.
I tell you what, I wish I wish my weight was dropping as fast as this interval is, but that's a different conversation for a different day. As that interval from the Colonel Kirby Wainscott back to Andrew Tuft is now 11.5 seconds.
Yeah, and the gap between Andrew Teft and Joshua Neal is 1.7. The gap between Joshua Neal and Cody Benelli is half a second. Stephen Luttrell lost a ton of time throughout the pit cycle there. Actually, no. Stephen Luttrell took 2 tires, and he is losing time as a result.
As the Colonel Kirby Wainscott continues to make laps around this 1.5-mile speedway here at Las Vegas, he comes down the Nellis Spec straightaway. He's got to be taking pit stop pretty soon. He's the last car not to take one. Here he goes, drawing out the proverbial parachute.
Yeah, nobody around him, so he could slow down generously on the racing surface. Didn't have to jump down to the apron quite as soon as some other drivers here, but he's already lost the lead to Andrew. Joshua Neal comes across. Cody Benelli just behind him.
We're watching Truth Oak back here in that number 14 position. He has went ahead and set the fastest lap of the race again with a 30.84. He's going to try to make it a sub 30. He's working his way to a sub 30 lap.
Meanwhile, for second place, Cody Benelli takes it away. Joshua Neal gives it up. He let him go by.
Well, now he's going to try to cross him over. They're going to be Goodyear to Goodyear when they go down to number 1.
That wasn't a crossover attempt. That was a let me not lose any time to you attempt. He gave him that spot to try to chase down the race leader, but I guarantee he wants it back if he catches back up to that 19. Whether or not he's going to get it at this stage of the race, that's going to be, that remains to be seen. But Cody Benelli right now has no one between him and Andrew Teft, and these last couple of laps, being a couple of hundredths quicker. Now that I say it, Andrew Teft puts down a lap a 10th quicker than Cody Benelli.
Yeah, absolutely here as we are working lap number 83 of 105 we ran here. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Facebook side and the YouTube side on the Racing Elite Network. And, on Tuesday night, we can hear the wonderful sounds of Liam Ervig and
caution is out on the racetrack. Stephen Luttrell has crashed.
Oh no,
He's around on the front straightaway. Doesn't look to be too damaged. Let's take a look to see what happened.
It looks like a free landscaping job.
Yeah, let's get another angle of that.
Let's go to there. And we'll do this. Might have damaged his pride in his tires.
He was sideways coming up off of the corner and just got squirrely. You couldn't save it. I was trying to get a deeper analysis of it, but there ain't much to it. It's evident that 2 tires was not the call. However, everybody else is coming into pit from first on back.
Here it is one more time from the drone cam.
And you could see, it looks funky for sure. But what I will say is that when you're coming up off of turn 4 at Las Vegas and you're trying not to overcorrect into the wall, it is very easy to overcorrect back the other way, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. I don't think he intended to spin himself out there, but couldn't have been better timing for anybody else who wants tires. Just under 30 laps to go.
20 to go to be exact, as we were on pit road. For what would
No,
be...
30. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking 115 for a minute. Just under 20. Here it is, folks. For once, this might be the first time that Missouri math has beaten Minnesota math. It hurts me to admit it.
Oh, boy. I love it.
Well, less than 20 to go here. Teft gets off of the pit lane in first, followed by Joshua Neal, Cody Benelli, Lee Campbell, Brandon Massey, Troy Thomas, Dennis Kane, Ira Kohlhaas, and Brandon Puffenberger. That was 9. Rob Yost Jr. is the top 10, followed by Stephen Luttrell, Alex Teft, Truth Hoke, and Kirby Wayne Scott. Everybody that is still in the race came in to pit that lap. Even David Kimmons, who was a lap down.
We're going 19 laps to go when we go back to green. And right now, Joshua Neal and Cody Benelli in that top 3 with Andrew Teft. I mean, I'm excited for this restart. And only 2 cautions and look, it took, what, 80-something laps? 90?
Just about 84, 85. But I tell you what, man. The first 80, I don't think are going to be an accurate representation of what we see. They could be. But now we've got a lot of drivers that are closer to the leader than they have been in a long time. And we've seen some drivers able to be putting up quicker laps than the 98. We saw the 36 on the initial start get himself out in front by a significant gap for a while. 98 had some good clean air, had good speed in clean air, but I do not think he's unbeatable.
Well, Liam, we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Barney's got the green flag in hand. The iRacing.com pace truck gets ready to make their hard left turn, giving the field to Joshua Neal and Andrew Teft through the Echo Park restart zone, and we are back to green flag racing here at Las Vegas. Andrew Teft with the jump.
Yeah, he's able to get away strong by a couple of car lengths. Seeing those guys side by side behind him, that's going to be his favorite thing. But Benelli, gets on the inside. He's going to be able to clear that 82. It's about 3/10 coming up off of turn 4, but there is clear track between the top 2.
Now we got a battle, 3-car battle for that second position. It's going to be Massey, Benelli, and Neal. Joshua Neal bounces off the wall.
So did Troy Thomas. Thought he was going to come across the front end of that number 4 Ford Mustang, but he did not. Good job by everybody there to keep it straight, but this is still a hornet's nest.
A hornet's nest. Whoa! Dennis Kane did take a turn, bouncing off the wall, and almost gets into that 3-car.
Just about opens the door. Getting it back to the front, though. Benelli's starting to close in on your race leader, running just half a lane up, and then another half lane up is your third place, Brandon Massey. Oh, here comes Benelli to the inside. He got himself a good run through turns 1 and 2. He's going to send it on the bottom. Does he have enough grip to keep it there on Andrew Teft? Teft gets a little bit loose up on the top side, but he still got grip. I don't know about that. Here comes Benelli to lead this lap and gets clear of Andrew Teft.
And he's going to bring Brandon Massey right along with him to get second position. Brandon thought about a 2-for-1 special there for a hot minute, but thinks better of it. He's stuck to the outside, or to the inside rather, as Andrew Teft and Brandon Massey are good year to good year coming into turn number 3.
Teft had been on the bottom since the restart. I gotta wonder if he was just maybe a little thrown off by what he experienced on the middle lane. Ran a lot better through turns 3 and 4 that time around. So it'll be interesting to see if he can maybe find some grip and chase back down the 19 of Benelli as he gets clear for second place and has nobody between him and the race leader. Little bit of a run coming up off of turn number 2. Try to close that gap to less than a car length.
And here's a battle for the third final podium spot here. With 14 laps to go, Joshua Neal trying to get by Brandon Massey there on the inside line. And he's thinking about bringing Lee Campbell right along with him. Lee Campbell thinking about making it 3 wide. He's searching high, low, and in the middle of the race course.
Yeah, Campbell almost found himself getting up into the wall. Almost a little bit of contact there between Neal and Massey. Up front, Benelli, Teft, still about 0.2 of a second as this Hornet's Nest continues to be feisty.
So Andrew Teft going right back to work on Cody Benelli. Trying to get Cody Benelli to make a mistake here. With 12 laps to go, we got a dozen left here from Las Vegas. Here comes Andrew Teft looking to the inside. Trying to make it Goodyear to Goodyear, coming off of turn number 2, but can't quite get there.
Yeah, that run coming up off of turn 2, really good for Benelli. And another thing for that, Teft can't get him off the bottom because he's already off of the bottom. So Teft can't try to use his bumper, can't try to use the air to get that car in front of him sideways. He's got to use the fresh air, which definitely helps his cornering. These Xfinity cars are known for being able to get up behind somebody, get up under their bumper, and get them loose. Running different lines like this, it's not going to happen, but no! Benelli gets into the wall!
And that is the mistake that Andrew Teft is looking for to get by Cody Benelli with 11 laps to go. Cody Benelli trying to look deep down in the hat for a bunny or a piece of magic to stop the bleeding of positions that's about to happen.
Cody Benelli up on the outside, now racing for second with Massey. Can he hold on to that position, potentially mount another charge? You could see him starting to get loose going through turns 1 and 2 and just slid up the racetrack, got into the wall. I'm not sure if it did a lot of damage, but it definitely hurt his momentum, allowed the 98 to get down to his inside. Now, Andrew Teft with 10 laps to go, 9 to go as they cross the stripe, sees side by side behind him and is absolutely loving what he's seeing.
Joshua Neal entered into the conversation for second place, and he's going to bring Lee Campbell and Brandon Poffenberger right along with him as we got a 5-way battle for that second position, rather.
And the more cars that add up into this battle, the happier Teft is going to be. As up into the wall goes the 19 once again. He seems to be struggling a little bit on this run. 8 laps to go. He's got the 87 to his inside. 87's going to get clear, put Massey in second place.
Cody Benelli's in danger of losing that third spot to Joshua Neal. Coming down the back straightaway. They're Goodyear to Goodyear. Benelli just went for the block. That car does not look happy right now as he's bouncing off the wall a couple dozen more times.
Was that a block on the 82 or the 60, or was that a block? Or was that a send on the 87 in front of him? 7 laps to go. Second place, back by 0.6 of a second to Andrew Teft. Third place has 4 drivers under a blanket.
We're not missing anything up front with Andrew Teft out to a half-second lead. But right now, Brandon Massey continues to run second. Joshua Neal working on Cody Benelli for the final podium spot.
Oh, a little bit of wall contact for the 5 there, Puffenberger. Not a lot, but everybody pushing it to the absolute limits here as we rock lap number 100 out of 105. 6 laps to go. We're coming to 5 to go here, Alan, and this action has been incredible over this final run. I know I said don't expect what you saw over the first 80 laps. But I tell you what, these guys are racing hard, and they are racing clean, as they always do in Racers Elite.
5 laps to go, 5 phalanges in the air. We're still with this battle here for the third and final podium spot, as we're not missing anything up in the front there. But here comes that number 19 car trying to get back to third position as Joshua Neal now has control of that third and final podium.
We come to 4 laps to go. Here's our friendly reminder that we do this part near every night. We've got great shows every night here on Sim Racing Media. If you're new, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. And if you have a league and you enjoy what you see, we would love to work with you. Go ahead and hit us up. You can find us on Facebook. You can also find us via email. It should all be in our description. We love watching fantastic racing, and if you want us to talk about it, we will gladly do that too. Coming to 3 laps to go. The gap up front is closing. It is 0.3 of a second that they have gotten away, or that separates the leaders. They have gotten away by 1.5 seconds over third place. That is currently a gamble between Neal and Campbell.
I love that, a gamble between Neal and Campbell. This right here, we're thinking about making it 3 wide, but thinks better of it. 3 laps to go down the back straightaway as Andrew Tuft and Brandon Massey are coming to get popsicle sticks, but nonetheless, this is an intense battle. Who's going to get that third and final podium spot? Liam, bring us home for the next lap and a half.
And I tell you what, who's going to come home with that final podium spot? But the race up front is heating up. 0.2 of a second separate these two. 2 laps to go. Here comes the 87 trying to run an outside line. He's going to get himself some momentum down the back straightaway. Teft moves down to try to break the draft, but that's not going to do anything as Massey gets within 1 car length through turns 3 and 4. Coming up off of turn 4, the 98 slides up just a little bit more. 0.5 car length between the bumpers of these drivers, now a car length. 1 lap to get it done. Is it going to be Massey or is it going to be Teft? Both drivers have a race win on the season. Both drivers looking to be the first repeat winner on the season. Big run here from Massey on the outside coming up off of turn number 2. Not quite enough to set himself up for a run. Can he gas it up on the outside? It doesn't look to be so. He's going to look to the outside coming up off of 4. But Andrew Teft gets it done in Sin City. Teft wins in Las Vegas. Brandon Massey third. Puffenberger takes away third. Sorry, Massey second. Puffenberger takes away third. Lee Campbell in fourth, and top 5 goes to Cody Bonelli.
What an outstanding battle to the end there, as we have some after-school fireworks going off right there. Not intentional, but, you know.
Oh, there was an immediate apology there, so nothing intentional. But now here comes Andrew Teft coming up off of turn number 4. In that Ford Performance, Ford Mustang, number 98. Tell you what, Chase Briscoe won so many races in that car, and now we get to watch Andrew Teft burn it down.
Wow, what a finish, you know. First repeat winner of the season here. Andrew Tuft gets it done in that number 98 car.
And forgive me, I said Brandon Massey was trying to become the other first-time winner on the season. He has not yet won this season, so he was looking for his first win on the season. So just a correction there on my part, but still a fantastic drive out of Mr. Massey there on that last restart, especially being able to chase down Andrew after battling so hard to take away that second position. Fantastic stuff here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. It goes to show the level of talent that you, Alan, get to handle week in and week out.
Absolutely. And, well, let's get this interview party started. Liam, you get to talk to the race winner.
Andrew, it's Liam and Alan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, guy.
Dude, you drove a phenomenal race. You started in second. After that first restart, you were able to take away the lead and pretty much never looked back until we got that final restart, and you got passed by the 19. Kind of walk us through what was it like racing with him in the last 20 or so laps?
Well, wanted to make sure I didn't burn up my stuff early in that run because I knew the cars would probably start pushing about, toward the end of that run, that short run that we had at the end. And even though I got caught on the outside, I was just kind of telling myself to be patient and not roast him too hard, trying to hold him off and just let him go and pass him back if I have to. And basically what I did, and worked out pretty good. Gotta thank them both for racing me clean, side by side. Didn't touch it at all. It was a lot of fun. And Brandon put up a heck of a fight there at the end. He was starting to get a whiff of my draft there, and he was closing in pretty quick. So I was a little nervous, but I knew like once it equaled out, if he got up to me, it'd be a pretty tough battle. But that running up to me was really helping him out.
Yeah, you brought up something early on in that statement. You talked about not wanting to use your stuff up early, and I have to say you were the master of that all night. I don't think anybody gained more time in the last 10 laps of a run than you. What does it take to save tires at such an abrasive track like Las Vegas?
Well, here I was mostly just riding the bottom, trying to keep my left front on the paint or near it. Kind of seems like there's a little extra grip down there. Some weird bumps you kind of got to watch out for, but it seems like to be able to run that low, you have to drive so slow that you kind of just naturally save tires anyway. I was burning up the right front a little bit toward the ends of the runs, but yeah, these things were so loose, it took a while for them to even start pushing.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like loose was the trend of the day, especially coming up off of the corners. But Andrew, you just ran a 105 lap, 2 caution race with a very long green flag run in the middle. What's kind of the mental state during that long green flag run?
Just focus, because this track's got so much character and bumps, and it's so easy to spin the tires that you could lose focus for just a second and be in the wall the next second. So really just staying focused on hitting my marks and just trying to stay focused. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's the truth of it.
Well, focus got you into victory lane, but I can't imagine that's the only thing. Who do you want to thank for such a strong performance there in that number 98?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for helping out the booth, our servicemen and women, everybody that tunes in to watch, shows up to race, my team, friends, family. And if you're interested in checking us out, just head on over to racerselite.com. We've got all kinds of single events, league series, something almost every night of the week. So if you like racing, come check us out. And if you don't mind doing us a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel here. You can find it on our YouTube channel homepage. There's a subscribe button there. If you push that, it'll remind you of shows and everything. So, and it's free. So, trying to get to 1,000 now. Everyone helps, so we appreciate it.
Well, awesome stuff, Andrew. I will definitely be looking that up on Facebook and YouTube. Might join you for a race or two. But congratulations on the win. Thank you so much for joining us up here. We'll talk to you hopefully next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Come on out.
All right, and that was the voice of our race winner, Andrew Tufts. And next up into the booth, this guy needs no introduction as he finished second, Brandon Massey. Brandon, it's Alan and Liam in the SRM booth. How's it going?
I'm good, fellas. How y'all doing?
Hey, look, man, so close but yet so far away to getting past Andrew Tufts. What more could you need it out of the car to possibly get by Andrew there in the late stages of the race?
I mean, it was just tight. We were running hard, through those last, 10, 12 laps. And the 19 made a mistake in front of me when he was racing with Andrew there. And so I actually got to the inside of him after Andrew cleared. And I needed to clear him, the 19, and to even have a shot at Andrew. And I wasn't able to after a couple laps, so I just kind of backed up a little bit, settled back in, and I was just hoping he would make a mistake. And in fact, he did. The very next corner, he just got the outside wall and exit, so I was able to clear them. But I needed those 2 extra laps to try to make some ground on Andrew. But Andrew's fast, man, and to be able to run right there with him, bumper to bumper coming to the line. With the luck I've had in this series and a truck series, I'm not too upset with a P2.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what a good run here. What's it about this track that fit your driving style all night?
I love this track. I always have. We've just here, Kansas. I actually won a Charlotte race Monday night with my own series that I run over there, and then I come over here and run Racers Elite so I ain't got to worry about all the admin stuff. And so, yeah, just mile and a half racing, I do well, and then super speedways I do well. But I just always loved how animated, I guess you could say, the Vegas is, right. The bumps in 1 and 2, both on the high side, the low side, and just how slick the exit, center exit of 3 and 4 is. So I just like those style of racetracks where you got to get up on the wheel, you got to focus, and you got to drive hard, but at the same time, try to save your tires and your equipment to have a shot at the end.
Look, man, once again, congratulations on a good run. But before we get you out of here, who do you want to thank and who helped you get it done on that number 87 car?
Yeah, absolutely, man. First and foremost, I want to thank the good Lord above, because without him, we couldn't do what we do. I want to give a shout out to my wife, and say thank you to all. I love you, and allow me the time to come back here and unwind and race cars. I want to give a shout out to my mom and dad. I know Dad's watching, and I actually got to call him right before the interview, and I got to hear some excitement in his voice, and I haven't heard that in a bit, because Dad's battling some things and whatnot. So that was really cool to know that he was watching and Mom was watching. All my partners, Ink and a Blink, Bohica Esports, Warpaint Wraps, my teammate Ira, one of the best damn teammates I've ever had. Pretty much one of the only ones, but my teammate Ira, Kohlhaas, and E81. And then everybody here at Racers Elite, man. Andrew and this whole group does an amazing job at what they do, and he's all the time trying to figure out new ways to come up with cool and exciting things for Racers Elite. And then obviously, man, I want to give a shout out to you guys for what you guys do, coming up here and putting these races on and doing the broadcast, man. It's from a broadcaster and commentary guy to you all. I appreciate the hell out of that. So, yeah, we'll go on to Bristol next week and see what next week holds.
Absolutely. Well, once again, congratulations on that P2 finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
And that was the voice of Brandon Massey out of the Bohica Motorsports. And Liam, there's only one driver left to interview, and you're with Brandon.
I tell you what, Brandon. Well, first off, it's Liam and Alan up in the booth. How are you?
Not too bad.
You might have had one of the most entertaining races throughout the course of the field. Obviously, you started up front. That first caution, you make a pit stop and didn't really gain much traction after that initially. But then you started picking them off one by one. You get that late race caution. It sets you up in position to get more spots. You had an amazing day. Ups and downs both. Kind of walk us through it.
Yeah, I just wasn't good after 20 laps on the long run. So that first caution I pitted, just see if I could run long and have a better pitch strategy, like fresher tires. And then after that, I just kind of got behind, and my only hope was that caution. But restarted there on the inside. Was trying to help my teammate Josh with calls and runs and stuff that guys had around us. But yeah, those guys, it was fun just throwing haymakers, it seemed like, every other corner. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and after that last restart, that battle for third was intense the whole time. I mean, it seemed like you guys were under a blanket. What did it take to come out on top of that whole battle with the 82 and the 19?
And just trying to keep that right rear, not get the right rear hot and keep it underneath of you so you can get the drive off. I think there with 2 or 3 to go, Lee was starting to slide his rear a little bit towards the wall, so I noticed that and just stayed patient in the center of the corner and then got back, so I was able to get the drive off underneath of him through the travel going into 1, and then was able to clear him out of 2.
I was just worried going into 3 and 4 they was going to try to throw a slider, but I think I covered that pretty well.
Yeah, you definitely did. You were able to come home with that third place, the final spot on the podium. Before we let you go, we got to ask, who helps you get it done on that number 5 machine?
Just guys at Midwest Motorsports, Andrew for putting on the league, you guys for coming out and broadcasting. It's a lot of fun to watch this stuff back, and that's about it.
Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us here tonight. Can't wait for the next time we talk to you.
Sounds good.
All right, and that was the voice of Brandon Puffenbarger. We're going to go ahead and get him out of the booth. Liam, before we get out of here, there's one last piece of housekeeping business we have to take care of, and that is going over those final results of the night. As we heard from our top 3, Lee Campbell will bring it home 4th position. Cody Benelli will bring it home 5th. 6th to go to Alex Teft. Joshua Neal will bring it home 7th. 8th to go to Ira Kohlhaas. Stephen Luttrell out of Kansas City, Missouri, he'll bring it home 9th. Dennis Kane, the driver out of Detroit, Michigan, will round out your top 10. Rob Yost Jr. will finish 11th. 12th to go to Kirby Wainscott. Troy Thomas will bring it home 13th. 14th to go to the one and only Truth Hoke. Dave Kimmons will bring it home in 15th. 16th to go to Terry Fennell.
Then we got Barry Nelson, Brett Bray, and rounding out the field was Pete Pistoli.
Polini.
Polini. I was thinking Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete. I love it. He's got a nickname now. But that's
All right, Pistol Pete. Pistol, yeah.
I love it.
Pistol Pete Polini rounds out the field, but yeah, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and dealing with our shenanigans, watching some incredible racing. And Alan, I can't thank you enough for allowing me to jump back in on Racers Elite. These guys are amazing, and I know my schedule doesn't always allow me to race or to join these guys, but it's always fun to watch them race, even up in the booth. So if you guys had fun watching, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I guess the last thing that I'll say is that as you guys walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic.